some things that you said there, Mr. Heathen. First of all, you said there's no God, and you said that you've seen enough, thought enough, and put together enough information to have no doubt in your mind that no God exists. And I was curious what this was that persuaded you that there was no God. And I'm going to read this analogy that you presented that for some reason convinced you there was no God. You said this: if I had a goldfish in a bowl, and this goldfish knew nothing other than he was born in a bowl somewhere else, and put into my bowl, this goldfish, if he could think for longer than 30 seconds, would think I was God. Now I'm not quite sure I follow that. There's a goldfish in a bowl, and he's put in your bowl, and when he's put in your bowl, he thinks that you're God. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Then you continue, you said, so if there was some supreme being, some supernatural being in our realm, wouldn't he simply be a more highly developed being of a larger state that started everything? And he wouldn't be a God, he'd just be another being. Well, if he was this being that started everything, to me that sounds like a pretty good definition of a God. I don't know how you conclude that he's just another being. I mean, well, actually God is a being, but how you conclude that this being wouldn't be a God, even though he started everything, I'm not quite sure I understand that. Well, then you continued and you said, and he couldn't be by himself. There'd have to be more than one of him, and none of this made any sense. Well, why couldn't he be by himself? Why would there have to be more than one of him? And then you said none of this made any sense. Quoting you, you said, so I said, you know what? The idea of a God is ridiculous, and there is no God, so I'm an atheist. Well, I'd probably be an atheist too if my best understanding of God was this goldfish in a bowl analogy. Yeah, that really doesn't make a lot of sense to me either, and I'd probably have a hard time believing there was a God too. But fortunately I'm basing my belief in God on more than goldfish analogies. He said if there is a God, then it's his own fault that I'm an atheist. What's your reason for that? Well, here's your reason for that. He said, he should have done more to let me know that he was so important and powerful, and certainly wouldn't give me some book like the Bible to read. He would have done more to reveal himself to you. Well, I guess the other 90% of the world seems to be convinced that he did do enough to reveal himself to us. Of course, you probably put yourself in that elite 10% that are much more on top of things than the rest of us. Well, you continue to say that God wouldn't have given you some book like the Bible to read. I'm a little curious how you know what a God would and wouldn't do, and why he wouldn't give you a book like the Bible to read. I like the Bible. I think it would be a very good book to read. I do read it, and I encourage you to read it. Although, of course, I'm sure you have read it and have all kinds of problems with it and contradictions and all of that common stuff. So, yeah, never mind. Well, anyway, to continue on, you address on how to deal with children when it comes to death. This is interesting. Here are some points that you make. You say, don't tell them they're going to a better place, because the child will want to die and go to a better place himself. You see, there's nothing wrong with telling the child that he's going to go to a better place if he dies. The thing is, you tell them more than that. You tell them that God has a plan for them, and that when it's God's timing, he will choose when they go on to that better place. But until that time, he has a plan for their life, and they need to stay right here and finish out that plan. Then when it's his timing, they will die they will go on to that better place to be with Him in heaven. Your next point, you said, it needs to be said like this. We need to tell these children that when someone dies, they're gone. Now, I'd like to know, Mr. Heathen, how you know that. How do you know that when someone dies, they're gone? Have you been over to the other side and checked it out for yourself? Has someone come back from the dead and told you, yeah, I've been dead and that's it, that's the end of it? How do you know they're gone? You see, you don't know they're gone. You believe they're gone. You think they're gone, but you don't know they're gone. So don't sit there with such confidence, encouraging people to tell their children that when they die, they're gone. You don't know that. Your fourth point, he said, not only will your child respect you for that when they grow up, but they'll have a greater appreciation for their life because of it. A greater appreciation for life. I don't know how you can figure that. How can you have a greater appreciation for life when you know that everything you do is all meaningless? It's all going to come to an end. It doesn't matter. A greater appreciation for life? You're going to die and that's it, and you're going to go back to nothingness. I don't see how you can have a great appreciation for life. I don't see how a child could see that. I think they would just see life as futile if you tell them that that's the end and that's it. You use the analogy of Santa Claus and God, and you say, you see, Santa Claus isn't the one that brings the presents, I bring the presents. Well, granted, you are the one that brings the presents. But you see, Santa Claus and God are two different people. With Santa Claus, maybe you do bring the presents. But with God, you're not the one that gives them life. You're not the one that gives them breath. You're not the one that gives them creation and the ground that they walk on. You don't give them that. God gives them that. Well, having said that, King Heathen, I do appreciate your efforts on your video. I would encourage you to come up with some better reasons why you don't believe in God. And Bob Taheton, hopefully you'll take a good look at King Heathen's video again. Write down what he says. Write down what his reasons are why he's an atheist. And I think when you look at it, you'll see that they're very weak reasons.